Hi everyone, this is Chiwe from One Dog Wolf, and today I'd like to show you how I make this tiny little knot that I use a lot to join yarns, especially of the same color. Joining yarns of different colors, you kind of need it to be exactly where you want it to be, but I find that when I join yarns of the same color, just when I run out or when I add new balls of yarn, this is a great way to join. I don't have to weave in a lot of ends. And this tiny knot can really be worked into my crochet pretty easily, either in the back of stuffed toys or even just worked into the stitches themselves. And then with a little fudging, they're really hard to see. I learned this probably a couple months ago, and it's pretty much changed my life. So I'm going to show you how I do it. Okay. So I have an orange piece of yarn and a gray piece of yarn here. Okay, and I'm going to line up the tips. Okay, I'm going to leave about, I don't know, I'm not good with measurements, I would say maybe half an inch-ish. And you're going to pinch between your thumb and your forefinger. Now you're going to take the yarn on the right, which is the orange, and you're going to wrap around your thumb, but not around your forefinger. Okay, so wrap around the thumb, and then underneath, between the thumb and the forefinger. You're going to wrap again, this time on the outside of that. Don't crisscross the yarn, and again, underneath the thumb, not around the forefinger, like that. And then for the next one, you're going to wrap not around the thumb, but you're going to wrap around the ends. Okay, now you're going to take these tips and you're going to fold them under so that it's squished between your thumb and your forefinger around this piece of yarn that you wrapped around. And now you're going to start pulling very slowly. Well, you could pull quickly, but I'm pulling slowly to kind of show you how this works. And I'm kind of letting the other loops go. You can see this knot being formed. So it was a little bit loose here. Some of my knots are smaller than others, but that's it. There's no ends to weave in. If there were any longer ends, you can just cut them off with very fine tipped scissors. And that's it. That's my tiny little knot. I can try with 2 strands of orange, and you can see how it can really become invisible in your work. Okay, so this is 2 strands of orange now. We're going to do this again. We're going to leave about half an inch. You're going to take the strand on the outside, which, in this case, they're both orange, but the strand on the outside, and you're going to wrap around your thumb, but not around your forefinger. You're going to wrap, and you're going to kind of tuck it in. Sometimes it gets a little finicky. Take some practice. Okay, so you wrap. I wrap it pretty tight, so it's nice and secure, so it doesn't flop out. Twice around your thumb. Third time is just around the tips, and it's still pinched. Everything's pinched tightly. You take the tips, tuck it under so that it's being held in place by your thumb, and then you just start pulling. Let's see if this one comes out tighter. That's it. Tiny little knot. So this can be worked pretty easily into any stitch. And if you feel it, you can kind of feel there's a little bump in the work. So obviously, if you don't want any bumps, you'd have to work your yarn in, new yarn in, and weave the ends in. But I love this as just kind of a semi-lazy method. If I was really picky, I'd probably, some of this is coming loose. I would just cut that off with my embroidery scissors and make it as fine as possible. And that's it. Hope you like this little tip. Thanks for watching.